All right, deep divers, prepare to plunge into a cinematic phenomenon that didn't just break box office records, it fundamentally reshaped an entire industry.
It really did.
Have you ever wondered how a film can just, transcend its genre, become this huge cultural touchstone, and forever alter the landscape of Hollywood?
It's quite something when that happens.
Today, we're embarking on an in-depth exploration of Christopher Nolan's 2008 masterpiece, The Dark Knight.
It's true. Few films manage to capture the cultural zeitgeist so completely, sparking conversations that echo for years and redefining expectations for what a blockbuster can truly be.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight isn't just a film, it's a profound statement, really. An artistic and commercial benchmark against which superhero movies and honestly many other genres are still measured.
And a powerful statement it was. Our deep dive today is built on extensive sources, drawing from detailed Wikipedia excerpts that cover pretty much everything. From its intricate plot and groundbreaking production techniques to its overwhelming release, its critical reception, and the profound thematic analyses it sparked.
Right.
Think of this as your shortcut to understanding why The Dark Knight is so much more than just another superhero film.
Our mission today, then, is to extract the most important insights and the truly surprising facts, giving you a comprehensive understanding of this film's monumental significance.
Yeah.
We'll uncover precisely how it challenged established conventions, how it sparked real-world debates that continue to resonate with us today, and ultimately how it cemented its unique place in film history.
So let's unpack this, because here's where it gets really interesting. We're going to start right at the beginning, at the very genesis of this global phenomenon.
Right.
The genesis of a phenomenon behind The Dark Knight. To truly appreciate The Dark Knight, we first have to understand its origins. It wasn't necessarily a guaranteed sequel, even after the significant success of Batman Begins.
Right, which is surprising in hindsight.
Warner Bros. Certainly saw the massive potential and prioritized a follow-up, but Christopher Nolan himself wasn't initially planning one.
Which is fascinating considering his filmography now.
It really is. Both he and his wife, the longtime producer Emma Thomas, had actually never worked on a sequel before. This meant a deliberate approach was absolutely essential.
That's a crucial insight into Nolan's meticulous process, isn't it? His approach ensured he wasn't just churning out another film for the sake of it.
Exactly.
He needed to be absolutely certain he could continue the narrative from Batman Begins in a way that felt both consistent with the established world and genuinely relevant to contemporary audiences.
So, while the subtle tease at the very end of Batman Begins with the Joker playing card was indeed a clever hint,
A great little tease.
it was Nolan's genuine intellectual curiosity in how to fully integrate the Joker into his established, grounded, and realistic style that truly got the ball rolling.
Yeah, he wasn't just interested in the Joker as a character, but rather what the Joker meant and represented within the specific gritty Gotham he had already created. It had to fit that world.
And what he represented, even from the earliest writing stages, was profoundly disturbing.
Yeah.
Let's delve into the core vision for the narrative, because it was built entirely around this idea of escalation.
Right. Escalation, that's the key word.
Nolan and his co-writer David Goyer collaborated intensely for, 3 months?
Mm-hmm.
Developing the main plot points.
3 months.
Their central concept was that Batman's extraordinary efforts, his vigilantism, his advanced high-tech gear used against common criminals, would inevitably lead to an opposing escalation by the criminal underworld.
It's almost like a force of nature responding.
This, they reasoned, would draw out increasingly anarchistic figures, most notably the Joker. It fundamentally challenged Batman's initial, almost naive belief that his war on crime would be temporary.
Yeah, that he could just clean things up and retire.
That he could clean up Gotham and then hang up the cowl. Instead, his very presence inadvertently changed the fundamental nature of Gotham's criminality.
Precisely. The Joker card scene in Batman Begins was, in hindsight, meant to convey the fallacy of Batman's initial hope for a temporary crusade. He thought it was short-term.
Right.
He believed his actions were a short-term solution, a path to eventual retirement. But Nolan and Goyer understood that such an intervention, however well-intentioned, would simply invite a greater, more chaotic opposition.
And what's particularly fascinating here is their conscious decision not to include overt, heavy-handed real-world parallels to terrorism or the war on terror.
Yeah, they deliberately avoided that.
Yeah.
Nolan and Goyer felt that making overtly political statements would actually detract from the timeless narrative they were trying to craft.
Which is smart.
Yet, by reflecting universal fears of anarchy and the breakdown of social order, the film undeniably resonated deeply with contemporary audiences, often in ways the filmmakers didn't explicitly design.
It tapped into something real.
It did. Nolan himself described The Dark Knight as representative of his own fear of anarchy, stating unequivocally that the Joker represents somebody who wants to just tear down the world around him. This makes the film incredibly powerful and enduring without ever feeling preachy or dated.
Speaking of the Joker, it makes you wonder how you even craft a character like that, especially one so enigmatic. Because this Joker is, in many ways, defined by what he doesn't have.
Right, the lack of origin.
Nolan and Goyer made a deliberate and radical choice not to give him an origin story or a traditional narrative arc. This was influenced by iconic, unknowable villains like the shark in Jaws, where its very mystery makes it terrifying.
The less you know, the scarier.
Or even characters like Hannibal Lecter and Darth Vader, where subsequent films depicting their origins, arguably, in Nolan's view, undermined the mystique that made them so compelling.
Yeah, he felt origins could weaken villains sometimes. They strongly believed that by keeping the Joker unknowable, he became profoundly scarier.
So the focus was just on his emergence.
Exactly. The focus, they decided, should be entirely on the rise of the Joker within Gotham's escalating chaos, not on how he came to be.
This raises a crucial insight about the nature of villainy itself, doesn't it?
It does. By making the Joker a purely evil psychopath and anarchist, seemingly lacking reason, traditional logic, or even fear, he became the perfect, devastating foil to test the absolute moral and ethical limits of Batman,
Right.
of the District Attorney Harvey Dent, and of Commissioner Jim Gordon. It wasn't about understanding his motives, because he had none in the traditional sense. It was about witnessing the pure, destructive impact of his ideology on a society struggling to maintain order.
It's interesting you mentioned the history.
Yeah.
That they accidentally wrote him similarly to his first appearance.
It is. And it's an interesting historical note that the Nolans later realized they had inadvertently written their version quite similarly to the Joker's very first appearance in Batman #1 back in 1940, where he also appeared almost fully formed. This accidental similarity reinforces the timelessness of the character's core destructive impulse, an agent of chaos from his very inception.
And if the Joker was the terrifying, unknowable force of chaos, then Harvey Dent was meticulously written as the Dark Knight's true central character, the ultimate target for the Joker's ideological war.
He's the battleground, essentially.
He's the focal point of this epic battle between Batman, who sees Dent as the upright, lawful hero Gotham truly needs, and a pathway to his own eventual retirement.
Batman's way out.
And the Joker, who wants to prove that even the most righteous, most idealistic people can be completely corrupted.
That everyone is breakable.
Nolan even made a powerful statement that the film's title, The Dark Knight, refers to Dent as much as it does to Batman, highlighting Dent's own duality, which eerily mirrors Batman's own struggle with his identity.
That's a huge statement.
That's a pretty profound assertion about a character who isn't the titular hero, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And this deliberate focus on Dent and the broader exploration of moral lines and civic responsibility really pushed the script into a different genre entirely far beyond typical comic book adaptation.
Yeah, it feels different.
The Nolans were heavily influenced not just by the grittier 1980s Frank Miller Batman comics, which portray characters with a serious, grounded tone,
Miller's work is key.
but also by iconic crime drama films like Michael Mann's Heat and Francis Ford Coppola's The Godfather. The finished script, rather than feeling like a typical superhero film with flashy powers and simple good versus evil tropes, bore far more resemblance to a sophisticated, gritty crime drama.
Like Heat with capes.
Kind of. This fusion of genres was nothing short of revolutionary for comic book adaptations, lending it a weight and gravitas rarely seen before.
And this genre fusion led to some of the most iconic and frequently quoted lines in cinematic history. I find it fascinating that the dialogue Jonathan Nolan considered most important, the poignant line, "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain," was actually a relatively late-stage addition during the development process.
Really? That late? Wow.
Yeah, but it perfectly encapsulates the profound, almost tragic significance of the film's ending, when Batman makes his ultimate sacrifice and flees on the Batpod.
It defines the whole arc.
It's a single line that truly defines the film's complex philosophical core
Yeah.
and foreshadows its tragic conclusion. Now, let's talk about the incredible ensemble cast that brought these nuanced characters to life, starting with Christian Bale's continued evolution as Bruce Wayne in Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He described his character as having transformed significantly from the young, naive, and angry man we saw in Batman Begins
He's definitely changed.
to a hero now burdened by the crushing realization that his war against crime is seemingly endless, a perpetual struggle without a clear end.
And that psychological burden wasn't just conveyed through Bale's acting, it was also subtly enhanced by a crucial design change. The redesigned Batsuit itself played a significant role.
The suit mattered.
Oh, hugely. In Batman Begins, Christopher Nolan deliberately obscured much of Batman's combat, presenting him as a shadowy, almost mythical figure from the criminal's perspective.
More of a creature.
Exactly. But for The Dark Knight, the improved suit, made from over 100 urethane armor pieces, allowed for much more agile, Kesey fighting method, training a practical, adaptive combat system that emphasized fluid, brutal efficiency.
So you see him fight more clearly.
Precisely. This fundamentally changed how Batman moved and fought on screen, enabling Bale to convey a more dynamic, physically capable, and yet still weighty Batman, visible in every punch and grapple.
But the performance that absolutely captivated everyone, generating an unprecedented level of buzz both before and after the film's release, was Heath Ledger's unforgettable portrayal of the Joker.
Just iconic.
His casting was initially quite controversial, wasn't it? Some industry professionals and a significant portion of the public criticized the choice, believing him to be entirely inappropriate for such an iconic role.
Yeah, there was definite pushback. People couldn't see it.
But executive producer Charles Roven and Christopher Nolan were completely confident in their decision, and boy, did that confidence pay off in spades.
Nolan's unshakable confidence stemmed from his very first discussions with Ledger, which quickly revealed a shared radical vision for the character. Ledger himself acknowledged his trepidation in succeeding Jack Nicholson.
Big shoes to fill.
Huge. But he found the challenge exhilarating, a profound artistic opportunity. He famously secluded himself in a hotel room for about a month, immersing himself in relevant comic books, deeply dissecting the character,
Getting inside his head.
and meticulously developing the Joker's unsettling voice, a chilling mix of high and low pitches, reportedly inspired by ventriloquist performances. His fighting style, too, was deliberately designed to appear improvised and erratically chaotic,
Unpredictable.
further contributing to the character's unsettling, unpredictable nature. This methodical process was a testament to his dedication.
And then there was the legendary Joker diary.
Oh, the diary. Yeah.
Ledger spent a further 4 months creating this incredibly personal journal, filling it with resonating images, disturbing observations, and macabre elements he believed would illuminate his character.
Mm.
Can you imagine the depth of that commitment, the psychological immersion required?
It's intense. He described his own character as a psychopathic, mass-murdering, schizophrenic clown with zero empathy, explicitly drawing influences from Alex and Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
And even the raw, anarchic energy of British punk musicians like Johnny Rotten and Sid Vicious.
The sheer intensity of his preparation speaks volumes about his artistic commitment.
Absolutely. Ledger himself described the role as the most fun I've had with a character and probably will ever have. It was an exhausting process. At the end of the day, I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, I was absolutely wrecked. He even openly admitted to often sleeping only 2 hours a night during filming because his mind simply couldn't relax, constantly cycling through the character's unsettling thoughts.
That's taking a toll.
That level of psychological and physical immersion undeniably translated into the raw, terrifying, and utterly transformative performance we saw on screen, a performance that truly blurred the lines between actor and archetype.
Moving from the agent of chaos to the White Knight, Harvey Dent. Nolan expressed a clear vision for Dent, wanting an actor with an all-American heroic presence, something he likened to Robert Redford in his prime.
That classic hero look.
But crucially, with an undercurrent of anger or darkness. Aaron Eckhart was cast, and Nolan felt he had that perfect aura of a good man pushed too far, a man whose moral compass could potentially shatter under extreme pressure.
Eckhart's portrayal truly captured that internal conflict and the devastating journey he takes. He interpreted the core difference between Dent and Batman as the sheer distance each character was willing to go for their respective causes.
How far they'd push it.
Right. After Dent's tragic corruption and transformation into Two-Face, he remains a relentless crime fighter, but he operates without the moral restrictions of the law, taking his own twisted justice to an extreme.
He becomes the coin flip.
Exactly. Eckhart was even influenced by the Kennedy family, particularly Robert F. Kennedy, in his depiction of an idealistic figure passionately fighting organized crime.
Interesting influence.
And crucially, Nolan made a deliberate choice to portray Two-Face realistically, opting for a burnt skeletal appearance that was detailed and medically plausible, rather than the more colorful, outlandish, or even cartoonish interpretations seen in previous films like Batman Forever.
Keeping it grounded.
This grounded realism was absolutely vital to the film's overall gritty, intense tone.
And surrounding these three central figures were some absolute pillars of the cast, veteran actors who brought immense weight to their roles. Gary Oldman's James Gordon was perfectly cast as the undisputed moral center of the film, an honest, incorruptible character who nevertheless struggles profoundly with his own moral limits in a city spiraling into chaos.
Oldman is always brilliant.
Maggie Gyllenhaal stepped in as Rachel Dawes, replacing Katie Holmes from Batman Begins. Nolan viewed Rachel as the essential emotional link between Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent.
The connection point.
And her eventual tragic loss served as a further personal loss that would continually fuel Wayne's character, pushing him to new psychological and ethical boundaries.
And of course, Morgan Freeman brought his signature gravitas and ethical compass to Lucius Fox, the brilliant Wayne Enterprises CEO who supplies Batman with his incredible, often morally ambiguous technology.
Can't forget Lucius.
Beyond these central figures, the film was packed with memorable performances that added significant depth. Eric Roberts as the mob boss Sal Maroni, Chin Han as the enigmatic accountant Lau.
Good smaller roles, too.
And even a chilling cameo from Cillian Murphy, reprising his role as the Scarecrow, demonstrating the continuity and grounded nature of Nolan's world. It's a testament to Nolan's precise casting that even smaller roles felt significant, contributing to the rich tapestry of Gotham's underbelly.
Right.
And for a fun fact for you, even U.S. Senator and huge Batman fan Patrick Leahy made a brief cameo, underscoring the film's widespread appeal.
That's great. Now let's talk about bringing Gotham to life. Nolan's vision for a grittier Gotham extended far beyond the script and the performances. It was deeply embedded in the film's production design and its unwavering commitment to practical effects.
Practical effects were huge for Nolan.
He consciously chose Chicago to represent Gotham City, specifically loving its distinctive architectural features and its recognizability, which he felt stood out compared to other cities like New York that had already been heavily featured in cinema.
Chicago is Gotham in this film.
The Chicago authorities were incredibly supportive, allowing for extensive street closures and unprecedented access.
This choice of Chicago was highly deliberate. Nolan wanted to move away from the more natural, scenic, and somewhat fantastical settings of Batman Begins, like the Himalayan mountains or the Batcave's cavernous lair, to a modern, structured, and almost clinical urban environment.
A concrete jungle.
Pretty much. This created a stark contrast that the Joker could systematically dismantle. Production designer Nathan Crowley highlighted how Chicago's clean lines and imposing architecture enhanced the urban crime drama feel, making it feel like a real city under siege.
Even Wayne Manor being gone played a part.
It did, creatively. Even the destruction of Wayne Manor in Batman Begins was, for Nolan, a creative opportunity. It allowed Bruce Wayne to move into a modern, sparse penthouse, reflecting his increasing isolation and loneliness.
Interesting.
Though the primary Batcave replacement, the Bat Bunker, was meticulously built on a vast set within a massive Cardington hangar in England.
One of the most groundbreaking and arguably daring aspects of The Dark Knight's production was its pioneering use of IMAX cameras.
Oh yeah, the IMAX. Revolutionary.
It was the first major motion picture in cinematic history to be filmed with high-resolution IMAX cameras, utilizing bulky 70mm film for about 28 minutes of the film. That's a remarkable 15 to 20% of the total runtime.
Which was unheard of for a narrative feature back then. Before this, IMAX technology was almost exclusively reserved for documentaries or specialized educational films, never for a mainstream Hollywood blockbuster.
Warner Bros. Was initially quite reluctant to support such a costly and logistically challenging endeavor, right?
Very reluctant. The IMAX cameras were notoriously large, unwieldy, and incredibly loud, making dialogue recording difficult, and the film stock itself was significantly more expensive than traditional 35mm.
But Nolan insisted.
Oh, absolutely insistent. Famously asserting that if these cameras could be used to film on Mount Everest, they could certainly be used for The Dark Knight. Cinematographer Wally Feister and his crew underwent extensive training to master these challenging tools.
Must have been tough.
And there was even a 4-day wait for the massive IMAX footage to be processed. Nolan specifically wanted to film the film's electrifying bank heist prologue entirely in IMAX to immediately convey the difference in scope and visual grandeur between The Dark Knight and its predecessor.
And it worked. That opening is stunning.
That impact from the very first scene was undeniable for audiences worldwide.
And the stunts? Nolan's steadfast preference for practical stunts over CGI, unless it was absolutely necessary, really paid off, creating an unparalleled sense of weight, scale, and visceral reality.
Look at those stunts.
They filmed key scenes all over Chicago. The majestic old Chicago main post office served as the backdrop for the opening bank heist, setting a raw, immediate tone. The towering 1 and 2 Illinois Center complexes were used for Wayne's sleek penthouse and the high society fundraiser where Batman and Joker first meet.
That first meeting was tense.
Wacker Drive, a major thoroughfare, was the stage for that insane truck chase, including the iconic, unbelievably practical truck flip stunt that shocked audiences.
They really flipped that truck.
They did. LaSalle Street provided the backdrop for the solemn GCPD funeral. And Navy Pier hosted the climactic ferry scene, which impressively involved 800 extras, and was filmed in a single day, showcasing logistical mastery.
Even the Gotham General Hospital explosion, a pivotal and shocking moment in the film, was filmed in a former Brax candy factory that was already scheduled for demolition.
Wow, convenient.
Demonstrating their unwavering commitment to practical effects and avoiding digital fakery wherever possible. This meticulous planning allowed for scenes that felt genuinely dangerous and impactful.
And it wasn't just Chicago. While the city provided the essential urban grit, Nolan's vision also took the production globally.
Right, England and Hong Kong, too.
Crucial indoor filming took place in England, at Pinewood Studios and the massive Cardington airfield for the cavernous Bat Bunker. The Criterion restaurant was used for Rachel Dent and Wayne's tense dinner scene.
And the interrogation scene.
Oh, yeah. What about that?
During the intensely physical interrogation scene at the Farmelo building, Heath Ledger, in his full Joker intensity, even reportedly asked Christian Bale to physically hit him.
No way.
And ended up cracking and denting the walls by throwing himself around, a testament to his extreme physical commitment to the role.
That's incredible dedication and really speaks to the physical demands of the shoot. And in Hong Kong, they filmed breathtaking aerial footage from atop the iconic International Finance Center and iconic ground-level locations like the mid-levels escalator.
Hong Kong looked amazing.
They even meticulously planned a stunt of Batman leaping between skyscrapers, but local authorities, much to the crew's frustration, denied permission for helicopter use due to complex restrictions.
Yeah, Feister wasn't happy about that. Cinematographer Wally Feister actually described the Hong Kong officials as a nightmare to work with.
Despite that, the ambitious 127-day shoot wrapped up remarkably on time and under budget, a testament to Nolan's directorial efficiency.
The attention to detail extended even to the intricate character designs and costumes. The Batsuit, for instance, was completely redesigned from Batman Begins for enhanced comfort and flexibility, constructed from over 100 interlocking urethane armor pieces.
More mobility.
Exactly. For Two-Face's chilling visage, sculptor Julian Murray meticulously created dense, burnt facial design, aiming for a skeletal appearance that was both fanciful and medically detailed, striking a crucial balance that was less repulsive than initial too real versions, yet still utterly horrifying.
Finding that balance is key.
This nuanced approach ensured the character's look contributed to his psychological horror, not just gross-out effects.
And then, of course, there's the Joker's instantly iconic look.
Unforgettable.
Costume designer Lindy Hemming based his disheveled, modern appearance on fashion and music celebrities known for their bold, almost eccentric styles, but also drew inspiration from Francis Bacon's haunting painting study after Velázquez's portrait of Pope Innocent X.
Bacon's influence is fascinating there.
His signature outfit, with the purple coat and green vest, looked both classically unsettling and surprisingly fresh. The makeup, created by prosthetic supervisor Connor O'Sullivan for the scars and John Caglione Jr. for the paint, was designed to look organic, as if it had been worn for days without being removed. A concept partly inspired by more of Bacon's distorted portraits.
Like he just lived in it.
And in a true testament to his immersion, Ledger himself insisted on applying his own lipstick, believing it was absolutely essential to his characterization and the final, unsettling touch.
Wow. He really owned it.
That's true. Profound immersion in a role.
Finally, we simply can't talk about The Dark Knight without diving into its incredibly powerful and distinctive score.
Music.
Yes.
Zimmer and Howard.
Composers James Newton Howard and Hans Zimmer, who had already brilliantly scored Batman Begins, returned to craft the musical landscape for this film, effectively bridging the musical narrative gap between the two.
And they composed without seeing the film first.
In a rather unconventional approach, they actually composed much of the score without seeing the film itself, wanting their work to be influenced purely by the characters and the overarching story, rather than strictly fitting specific on-screen elements.
That's interesting.
This allowed for a more organic, character-driven score that truly captured the essence of the film's world.
They divided their duties quite strategically. Howard focused primarily on Harvey Dent, creating themes that depicted his initial hope and moral uprightness, using soaring brass instruments
That hopeful sound.
that would then be chillingly warped and distorted as Dent tragically succumbed to darkness and corruption. Zimmer, on the other hand, took on Batman's brooding themes and, most notably, created the truly unforgettable and deeply unsettling theme for the Joker.
Zimmer's creation of the Joker's theme is particularly chilling and innovative. He initially experimented with building it around a single, increasingly agitated note, but ultimately settled on a dissonant theme constructed from just two notes.
Thus, two notes.
Yeah, just two notes with alternating tempos and a distinctly punk influence. He drew inspirations from electronic music pioneers like Kraftwerk and the raw energy of the rock band The Damned.
A punk Joker. Makes sense?
They even experimented with an incredibly off-putting recording process, instructing musicians to gradually shift notes over a 3-minute period, something entirely against their traditional training. This created a subtly unsettling, almost nauseating effect that perfectly mirrored the Joker's chaos.
Took months to get right.
It took months to achieve this desired result. And in a poignant decision after Ledger's tragic death, both Zimmer and Howard decided to keep the theme exactly as it was, as a powerful auditory tribute to his extraordinary performance.
A fitting tribute.
It truly became the sound of pure, unadulterated chaos. 2. The impact and reckoning. Release, reception, and awards.
Now let's turn our attention to the immense impact of The Dark Knight, because its presence was felt long before the film even officially hit theaters.
The hype was unreal.
Warner Bros. Launched what many critics and marketing experts still consider a masterclass in promotional strategy. An innovative alternate reality game, or ARG, meticulously developed by 42 Entertainment.
Oh, the ARG was brilliant.
This viral strategy was initially aimed at countering the highly vocal negative reactions to Heath Ledger's casting and, crucially, to meticulously control the highly anticipated revelation of the Joker's chilling appearance.
This approach was truly revolutionary for its time. The ARG kicked off in May 2007 with hidden campaign posters for Harvey Dent's political aspirations and Joker playing cards, emblazoned with the phrase, "I believe in Harvey Dent," that led people to an elaborate website.
The pixelated Joker image, I remember that.
It famously required fans to send in 97,000 emails, each contributing a single pixel, to slowly reveal a pixelated image of the Joker. At San Diego Comic-Con, they distributed 11,000 $1 bills defaced with the Joker's haunting image and the iconic question, "Why so serious?"
Yeah.
Leading fans on scavenger hunts.
Getting people involved.
Totally. People even called a mysterious number from a plane flying overhead and were encouraged to wear Joker makeup to commit seemingly disruptive acts with actors in public, all designed to generate buzz. It was incredibly immersive, blurring the lines between fiction and reality.
And it worked, right? Changed the narrative about Ledger.
And incredibly effective at countering the early skepticism around Ledger's casting by putting his menacing portrayal directly in front of fans.
And the early screening of the film's electrifying bank heist prologue, facilitated by a strategic Nokia brand partnership, really sealed the deal.
That prologue screening was key.
Ledger's initial appearance in that prologue was so incredibly well received by audiences that it immediately and fundamentally changed the entire public discourse around his casting, shifting from skepticism to awe.
People saw it and just knew.
After Ledger's tragic death, the campaign continued, brilliantly adapting by shifting its focus to Harvey Dent's election campaign, subtly influenced by the ongoing 2008 U.S. presidential election. They even deployed Dentmobiles that visited cities, and iconic bat signals were mysteriously defaced by the Joker.
It was a brilliantly executed, multi-layered marketing campaign that redefined pre-release hype.
And they were serious about piracy, too.
Oh, yeah. Beyond the marketing spectacle, Warner Bros. Also undertook an unprecedented 6-month anti-piracy strategy, a huge undertaking in an era where film piracy was costing the industry billions annually.
What did they do?
They implemented highly sophisticated measures, including randomized film reel deliveries to theaters, rigorous chain of custody tracking, and even deploying night vision goggles for theater staff to spot camcorders in dark auditoriums.
Night vision, wow.
This meticulous and proactive approach actually worked, successfully delaying the appearance of the first camcorder versions online for a full 38 to 48 hours after its earliest global release, a significant victory against the pirates.
All this anticipation, coupled with the critical buzz, culminated in one thing: a bona fide box office juggernaut.
It was massive.
The Dark Knight was released on July 18, 2008, in a record-breaking 4,366 theaters across the U.S. and Canada. And it didn't just break records, it absolutely smashed them.
Just shattered them.
It earned an astonishing $158.4 million during its opening weekend, obliterating Spider-Man 3's previous record. It set new benchmarks for the highest-grossing single day, with $67.2 million on its opening Friday, the highest Sunday gross at $43.6 million, and the highest midnight opening with $18.5 million.
Unbelievable numbers.
It even contributed to the highest-grossing weekend on record for the entire industry, pulling in an incredible $253.6 million.
And its success wasn't just a fleeting flash in the pan. The Dark Knight remarkably retained the #1 position at the box office for consecutive weeks.
They're going strong.
And quickly became the fastest film in history to surpass $400 million in just 18 days, and an even more incredible $500 million in a mere 45 days. By February 2009, with strategic re-releases, it became the first superhero film ever to gross over $1 billion worldwide, eventually reaching an astounding $1.009 billion.
Billion with a B.
At the time, it was only the 4th film ever to exceed $1 billion, joining the elite ranks of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, and the colossal Titanic.
Huge company.
This was an unprecedented financial success for the genre, proving that superhero films could be critical darlings and global titans, fundamentally changing how studios viewed their potential.
And critics across the board simply couldn't stop talking about it either. It received near universal critical acclaim, with many quickly hailing it as nothing less than the best comic book hero adaptation ever made.
High praise indeed.
Legendary film critic Roger Ebert, in particular, noted how The Dark Knight, alongside Marvel's Iron Man released this same year, fundamentally redefined the potential of superhero films by brilliantly blending traditional comic book tropes with the complex, often unsettling realities of real-world events and anxieties.
Ebert nailed it. Critics widely appreciated its mature, complex, moral tale that delved deep into themes of vigilantism, terrorism, and the limits of justice. Manohla Dargis, a prominent film critic, for example, saw its unflinching exploration of chaos, fear, and death in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks as representing a profound new era of ambivalence towards heroes in American cinema.
But not everyone loved everything about it, right?
No, despite the widespread praise, it wasn't without its detractors. Some critics pointed to its dark, grim, intense, and overtly self-serious tone, arguing it sometimes lacked the fun or fantasy traditionally associated with superhero films, making it less escapist.
Too serious for some.
There were also some specific criticisms regarding a perceived lack of purely visual storytelling in favor of exposition-heavy dialogue, and that the film's relentless, fast pace and often loud score sometimes made the intricate plot hard to follow for some viewers.
And the action scenes.
While the overall action direction received mixed reviews, particularly for some of the fight scenes, which were described as occasionally unclear, the opening prologue bank heist sequence was almost universally praised as a standout, a masterclass in tension and action choreography.
But the performances, particularly Heath Ledger's, really defined the film for many audiences and critics. His portrayal received near unanimous praise, though often with the poignant caveat that his tragic death made the role both highly anticipated and incredibly difficult to watch.
Yeah, that context was unavoidable.
Critics frequently noted how his utterly transformative performance made audiences forget about the actor behind the makeup, a rare feat. And many felt he completely outshone Jack Nicholson's previous celebrated portrayal of the Joker.
He really did. He truly commanded scenes with an unpredictable, unnerving presence, creating what was immediately recognized as one of the most mesmerizing cinematic villains in history.
Christian Bale's reception as Batman, interestingly, was more mixed.
It was, yeah. While some critics found his portrayal captivating in its portrayal of a burdened hero, others described it as merely serviceable or even uninteresting,
The voice, maybe.
with some reviewers specifically pointing to Batman being a somewhat static character throughout the film who delivered his lines in a distinctively hoarse, unvarying tone. This contrast in reception highlighted the challenge of portraying a hero whose internal struggle is less outwardly dramatic than his chaotic antagonist.
Eckhart got good reviews, though, for Dent.
Aaron Eckhart, however, was generally very well received for his compelling portrayal of Harvey Dent, from his early charismatic depiction as Gotham's shining hope to his tragic transformation into a sad, bitter monster of vengeance.
Great arc.
Peter Travers praised Gary Oldman for making a virtuous character like Gordon genuinely interesting, and both Christian Bale and Morgan Freeman were lauded for their effortless and anchoring performances. Ultimately, Roger Ebert summarized it perfectly. The entire cast delivered powerful performances, making the drama deeply affect the audience regardless of individual nuances.
And this overwhelming critical acclaim and commercial success translated into major accolades, particularly for Heath Ledger.
The Oscar buzz was immediate.
Even before the film's release, there was significant industry buzz around his potential posthumous Academy Award nomination, which was an exceptionally rare feat for a genre film at the time. He quickly became the absolute favorite for the award based on a cascade of critic group praise and his poignant posthumous Golden Globe win.
And he won. Ledger's win for Best Supporting Actor was truly historic, making him only the second performer ever to win an Oscar posthumously, following Peter Finch in 1977 for Network.
Landmark moment for the genre, too.
Absolutely. More significantly for the genre, The Dark Knight became the very first comic book adaptation to win an Acting Academy Award, a monumental breakthrough. The film also justly won Best Sound Editing for its intricate soundscape and received 6 other prestigious nominations.
Which ones?
Including for art direction, cinematography, film editing, makeup, sound mixing, and visual effects. These were major recognitions for a film in a genre that had historically been almost entirely overlooked by the Academy for its artistic merits.
Despite all that undeniable success and recognition, the most enduring legacy related to awards might actually be the infamous Best Picture snub.
Oh, the snub. People were not happy.
There was widespread criticism and outrage when The Dark Knight was not nominated for Best Picture, a perceived oversight seen by many as the culmination of years of the Academy consistently ignoring popular, high-performing films that were also critically acclaimed.
The backlash from both fans and critics was so significant, so vocal, that it led to a concrete and unprecedented change within the Academy itself.
The Dark Knight rule.
Exactly. For the 82nd Academy Awards in 2010, the Academy dramatically increased the Best Picture nominee limit from a rigid 5 to a more expansive 10. This direct consequence of the outcry became widely known throughout Hollywood as the Dark Knight rule.
Did it work?
It fundamentally altered the Oscars landscape, allowing for a broader range of films, including more popular and respected genre films like Avatar and Pixar's Up, to be nominated. Many industry observers directly credit this rule change for Black Panther's historic Best Picture nomination as the first comic book adaptation to achieve that recognition years later.
So it had a lasting impact.
Definitely. However, The Hollywood Reporter astutely argued that the Academy might have ultimately misunderstood the core of the public's frustration, mistakenly believing that simply nominating more films would solve the issue, rather than recognizing and valuing generation-defining genre films for their inherent artistic merit.
Interesting point.
Regardless of the nuance, The Dark Knight left an undeniable, indelible mark on the Academy itself and its perception of blockbusters. 3. Beyond the screen, themes and enduring legacy.
Okay, let's go beyond the box office numbers and the awards, because The Dark Knight left its most profound and lasting mark in its exploration of complex themes.
The ideas are really what stick with you.
The ideas of terrorism and escalation are absolutely central to this film, mirroring our own world in striking, often unsettling ways. The narrative explicitly presents the Joker not just as a random villain, but as the inevitable response to Batman's vigilantism.
Batman created his own monster, in a way.
To his high-tech, quasi-military equipment used against what were, initially, common criminals.
Indeed. Film critic Siddhan Adlakha compellingly argued that the Joker symbolizes the constructed, unknowable face of modern terrorism, Unlike real-world terrorism, which often has identifiable political or religious motives, the Joker's chaos is presented as inherently cyclical, an uncontrollable force seemingly inseparable from the very militarism or extreme measures it reacts against.
That ambiguity is terrifying.
It is. This deliberate ambiguity makes him terrifyingly resonant for contemporary audiences. It's also worth noting that Batman himself inadvertently inspires copycat vigilantes, less capable, less principled individuals who mimic his methods.
The guys in hockey pads.
Right. Further escalating lawlessness and forcing Batman to assert his authority over them because they lack his defensive capabilities or moral code. This suggests that even good intentions can have unforeseen, chaotic consequences.
And the film has been widely analyzed as a nuanced analog for the War on Terror era, particularly highlighted by the haunting scene where Batman stands in the ruins of a destroyed building, an image starkly reminiscent of the World Trade Center site after 9/11.
That image is powerful. Historian Stephen Prince even views the film as a cautionary tale about the grave consequences of civil and government authorities abandoning established rules and principles in the fight against an existential threat like terrorism.
He points to the alliance between Batman, Dent, and Gordon.
Exactly. He emphasizes that the covert alliance between Batman, Harvey Dent, and Jim Gordon, operating outside strict legal boundaries, ultimately leads to tragic outcomes like Rachel's death and Dent's tragic corruption.
This complex portrayal indeed led to some deeply politically charged interpretations, revealing the film's capacity to serve as a mirror to society's own anxieties.
Oh, absolutely. Some publications criticize the film for a perceived endorsement of necessary evils, like torture and rendition, drawing uncomfortable parallels to post-9/11 policies.
Linking Batman to Bush, even.
Yes. Author Andrew Clavon even controversially suggested that Batman was a stand-in for then-President George W. Bush, seemingly justifying breaches of civil rights in the name of security.
But others saw it differently.
Conversely, others argued the film was profoundly anti-war, serving as a powerful warning against abandoning the rule of law and highlighting how the very act of fighting chaos with chaos leads only to more destruction. As writer Benjamin Kirstein astutely put it, The Dark Knight is a perfect mirror of the society which is watching it, reflecting the deep divisions and unresolved questions on how to fight terror without sacrificing core values.
It doesn't give easy answers.
No, it simply presents the chilling dilemma.
It's truly fascinating how the film doesn't shy away from showing the heavy cost of these extraordinary measures and the gradual erosion of principles. Both Batman and Harvey Dent, desperate to stop the Joker, resort to forms of torture.
Dent dangling the guy off the roof.
Right, yet the Joker remains largely immune, almost impervious, precisely because of his unwavering nihilistic belief in his own goals.
Torture doesn't work on him.
When Dent ineffectually tries to torture one of Joker's henchmen, Batman's immediate concern isn't the ethical act of torture itself, but the public perception if the truth gets out. This subtly but powerfully illustrates their gradual, almost imperceptible abandonment of core principles when faced with an extreme existential foe who operates without any such constraints.
The Joker's chilling hospital speech to Dent perfectly encapsulates his ideology and the film's broader themes. He explains how expected atrocities, like soldiers dying in war, are tolerated by society, but unexpected disruptions to the perceived order, like a sudden explosion, cause immediate panic and chaos, exposing the fragile veneer of civility.
Upset the established order.
Exactly. And then there's Batman's deeply controversial use of an invasive surveillance network, secretly co-opting Gotham's entire phone system to locate the Joker. This militaristic fantasy of civil liberties being violated for the sake of security is undeniably reminiscent of debates surrounding measures like the Patriot Act.
Lucius Fox wasn't happy about it.
No, he wasn't. While Lucius Fox, as Batman's moral compass, raises strong ethical concerns about this unprecedented invasion of privacy, and Batman ultimately destroys the technology once the crisis is over.
Which is important.
The film unequivocally shows that at that critical moment, it was necessary to stop the Joker in time. It presents a harsh utilitarian dilemma, forcing us to grapple with the idea that sometimes extraordinary circumstances seem to demand extraordinary, even morally dubious measures.
This brings us squarely to the film's deep dive into morality and ethics, testing the very limits of right and wrong. The Joker, as a character, embodies pure ideological deviancy.
It's beyond simple crime.
He doesn't seek personal gain or material wealth. His unique motivation is simply causing chaos for its own sake, famously burning a towering pile of cash to prove his chilling maxim. Everything burns.
That's right. Unlike Batman, who operates under a strict code and carefully conceals his identity, the Joker operates without an identity to conceal, with no past to haunt him and seemingly nothing to lose.
No secret identity.
He's essentially the same, with or without his grotesque makeup. He deliberately, meticulously, upends the residents' and even the criminals' belief in order and rules because he himself has none. He can be seen as a chilling interpretation of a Nietzschean Superman, not in the literal sense of power, but as an individual who transcends conventional morality and creates their own values, operating utterly beyond traditional concepts of good and evil.
But the film doesn't exactly endorse that view.
No, it doesn't. The film ultimately shows that his chaos leads only to death, destruction, and profound injustice, hinting that such an existence is ultimately unsustainable or simply evil. Christopher Nolan himself described the Joker as unadulterated evil, and Professor Charles Bellinger viewed him as a satanic figure, tempting characters by forcing impossible, Sophie's choice-like decisions.
Like the choice between Dent and Rachel.
Precisely. Like Batman being forced to choose between saving Dent or Rachel, his famous chilling dialogue to Dent. Their morals, their code. It's a bad joke dropped at the first sign of trouble.
We're only as good as the world allows them to be.
Exactly. You'll see. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
Perfectly illustrates his nihilistic philosophy of corrupting Gotham's very soul.
And it was Harvey Dent who was his ultimate target for corruption, the one he sought to drag down to his level.
The White Knight, Batman, representing order and an almost unbreakable moral code, is pushed to his absolute limit by the Joker, but ultimately avoids complete self-compromise. Dent, on the other hand, is introduced as Gotham's shining white knight, a beacon of American idealism, goodness, and hope, motivated by his unwavering faith in the legal system.
I believe in Harvey Dent.
He's even symbolically framed as a religious icon, with the pervasive campaign slogan, "I believe in Harvey Dent," and his death pose eerily reminiscent of Jesus on the cross, a martyr for Gotham's soul.
But Dent's tragic fall is precisely the point the film aims to make. It shows that even the most powerful symbols of hope and justice can be brutally broken by fear and chaos. His initial use of a two-headed coin, a seemingly random tool, was ironically used to eliminate risk by controlling outcomes.
Rigging the game.
But after Rachel's horrific death, that coin transforms into a symbol of pure, destructive chance. One side becomes scarred, literally mirroring his own disfigured face, introducing true, brutal risk into his decisions as he seeks his own twisted, nihilistic justice.
The coin decides everything.
This highlights the terrifying fragility of ideals when confronted with overwhelming trauma. Batman, representing that unwavering order, is pushed to his absolute limit by the Joker, but crucially, he avoids the complete self-compromise and descent into madness that Dent tragically cannot. It's Batman's ultimate sacrifice that saves Gotham's soul, not by fighting, but by taking the fall.
And that leads directly to the film's profound exploration of the noble lie.
The lie to protect Gotham.
The ferry scene, where the Joker forces civilians and prisoners to choose whether to blow up the other boat, is often cited as the Joker's true ideological defeat. Despite his cynical belief that people would devolve into savagery, they ultimately choose not to.
Humanity wins for a moment.
Demonstrating a flicker of hope for compassionate outcomes when responsibility is shared and integrity holds. But then Batman is forced to make his own terrible, calculated choice that redefines heroism.
He does, and it's arguably the film's most ethically challenging moment. Batman pushes Dent to his death to save Commissioner Gordon's son, and then he immediately makes the excruciating decision to take the blame for Dent's crimes, allowing Dent to remain Gotham's untarnished white knight.
Because he's the hero Gotham deserves.
But not the one it needs right now. Right. This Christ-like sacrifice, as some critics described it, preserves Dent as a pure symbol of good, maintaining hope in Gotham, even if it means Batman himself must become a symbol of criminality, a hunted figure.
So is it heroic or something else?
The ethical dilemma here is profound and endlessly debated. Is it a truly heroic sacrifice for the greater good, or is it a cynical endorsement of deception and totalitarianism, concealing the truth from the populace for what a minority determines is beneficial? It forces you, the viewer, to question the very nature of heroism and sacrifice.
Even Alfred lies, doesn't he? With the letter.
Exactly. Even Alfred, Batman's trusted confidant, commits his own noble lie by burning Rachel's undelivered letter to spare Bruce Wayne the crushing pain of her rejection. The film leaves us with the unsettling thought that sometimes truth itself can be a dangerous thing.
And that brings us to The Dark Knight's enduring legacy, its monumental cultural influence, and how it continues to shape cinema to this day.
Its shadow is long.
Before 2008, superhero films, even successful ones like Superman or Spider-Man, were often seen as disposable entertainment, closely emulating comic book source material and rarely garnering serious critical consideration.
The Dark Knight fundamentally redefined the genre, becoming nothing less than a blueprint for modern superhero films. It consciously rejected the typical, colorful comic book style for a grounded, gritty crime film featuring comic book characters, proving that these stories could achieve profound dramatic weight.
Making them malleable.
As The Hollywood Reporter astutely noted, it demonstrated that comic book characters are malleable. They are able to be grounded or fantastic, able to be prestigious or pure blockbuster entertainment, to be dark and gritty or light, to be character-driven or action-packed, or any variation in between.
And it legitimized the genre financially, too.
Oh, massively. Its unprecedented critical, financial, and cultural success legitimized the genre for film studios, transforming it into a central focus of annual strategies and leading directly to a surge of adaptations, playing a significant, arguably foundational role even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's later success by showing what was possible.
But this profound influence, interestingly, wasn't always positive or well understood. Many studios, attempting to replicate the Dark Knight's success, mistakenly tried to create what they thought was the next big thing by releasing tonally dark, gritty, and realistic films or reboots.
The dark and gritty phase.
Right. However, they often failed precisely because they mistook a dark, gritty tone for narrative depth, overlooking the complex character work and thematic richness that made Nolan's films so compelling.
You saw the MCU successfully continue by cleverly combining diverse genres and tones within its overarching narrative, while the DC Extended Universe, in its early days, less successfully emulated the Dark Knight's tone without capturing its profound narrative nuance or underlying philosophical questions.
Still, many directors cite it as an influence.
Oh, absolutely. Yet its influence on other filmmakers and artists is undeniably pervasive. Esteemed directors like Sam Mendes, who cited it as an influence for his James Bond film Skyfall, Ryan Coogler for his critically acclaimed Black Panther, and even David Ayer for Suicide Squad have acknowledged its impact.
Spielberg likes it too.
Legendary director Steven Spielberg listed it among his favorite films, and actor Timothée Chalamet famously said it inspired him to become an actor. It's referenced continually in popular culture, from The Simpsons to South Park.
Even Obama referenced it.
It even reached the highest levels of political discourse, with U.S. President Barack Obama using the Joker as a metaphor to explain ISIS, saying, "The Joker comes in and lights the whole city on fire. IS is the Joker."
It's truly amazing how deeply ingrained it became in the cultural consciousness. The Dark Knight was rightfully selected for preservation in the prestigious National Film Registry in 2020, recognized for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant, cementing its place in cinematic history.
Well-deserved. It consistently ranks as one of the greatest superhero films ever made, one of the best movies of the 2000s, and even one of the best films of all time by numerous reputable publications and critics. To this day, it stands as the highest critically rated Batman film across the franchise's long history.
And Ledger's Joker, still revered.
And Heath Ledger's Joker remains, without question, one of the greatest cinematic villains ever conceived, often ranked second only to Darth Vader in terms of iconic impact. The Hollywood Reporter even named his Joker the second best cinematic superhero performance ever, period. And Collider listed him as the greatest villain of the entire 21st century so far.
Inspiring other villains, too.
Definitely. Michael B. Jordan, for instance, explicitly cited Ledger's performance as a profound inspiration for his acclaimed character, Eric Killmonger, in Black Panther. Iconic moments like the chilling pencil trick scene,
The pencil.
and oft-quoted lines such as, "Why so serious? Everyone loses their minds. Harvey Dent's profound. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain." And Alfred Somber, "Some men just want to watch the world burn," have become pervasive internet memes and cultural touchstones.
They're everywhere online.
The film's continued popularity in publicly voted rankings by publications like Empire and Rolling Stone also speaks volumes about its enduring appeal and its ability to connect with new generations of viewers.
And of course, the trilogy concluded with The Dark Knight Rises in 2012, which, while a massive financial success, proved to be more divisive critically, highlighting just how singular and impactful The Dark Knight truly was. So we've journeyed through the intricate layers of The Dark Knight, from its challenging and groundbreaking production and its unprecedented release, to its profound thematic debates on justice, chaos, and the moral compromises inherent in a world under existential threat.
This deep dive reveals how a film can be far more than just entertainment. It can provoke deep thought, mirror societal anxieties, and set audacious new benchmarks for storytelling.
Yeah.
It's a powerful testament to how creative vision, combined with a relentless willingness to push boundaries, can truly leave an indelible mark on both art and culture.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Consider this. In a world constantly grappling with information overload, with complex global challenges mirroring many of the film's themes, where do you draw the line between maintaining order and preserving fundamental principles?
It's a tough question.
The Dark Knight challenges us to think deeply about the nature of heroism, the fragility of ideals, and the terrifying sacrifices that might be made in the face of absolute chaos. What symbols do you believe a society truly needs to uphold hope? And what price, if any, are you willing to pay to protect them?